I'm Chet, and this...
Shane. Let me introduce myself as well, you son of a bitch.
And we're back for another episode of VHS Revolt. This week we're going to be doing the 1997 film...
Anaconda.
It's about a giant snake.
Or, I think it's a couple giant snakes. I think this was the start, not counting Jaws, of like the big animal is a monster trend that happened around the 90s. Where it was like Anaconda came out, Lake Placid, there were a bunch of those. Now, I'm pretty sure this all culminated in Lake Placid versus Anaconda. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was a movie. I don't think it was a sci-fi original, even though it sounds like it. Anyways, we're talking about the OG today, Anaconda, starring Jon Voight and his wacky accent.
Paul Cerrone.
The
savior of this film.
We've gotten very early Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube. Ice Cube, without a doubt, the best actor of this movie.
Well, he has an easy job. He's just playing Ice Cube.
Well,
and he does a damn good job of it.
I mean, let's be honest. Ice Cube only ever plays Ice Cube, but he does it well.
Yeah. I don't know. I was going to try to give him some range, but I don't know that I've seen him in anything.
We also have an inexperienced Owen Wilson being an even worse actor than usual, and Eric Stoltz is around for about 10% of this movie.
He is, and you know what? It's probably for the better. Now, for his career and for our enjoyment.
Was it? Because, I mean, how much career did Eric Stoltz have after this?
He's a little bit of he is a character actor, so he does, you see him pop up here and there.
I can't say I've noticed him, but then I can't.
Have you seen, you've seen Pulp Fiction?
He's in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, he's remember the couple?
Oh,
he
yeah.
has to inject her with
Honey Bunny and,
No,
wait, he's
the one, the drug dealer.
The drug dealer.
Lance, is that his name?
That's Eric Stoltz?
Yeah.
Well, holy shit, good for you, Eric Stoltz.
So, I mean, he's more of he'll pop up every once in a while playing these kind of character kind of things. I think maybe this movie he's trying to play more of a...
This would have been after Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, and I think he's trying to play more of a leading man kind of thing, and it might have been his first time, because he was...
You probably should have read the script for this then, because he did not really lead this movie.
He was one of those 80s, like, heartthrob kind of teen actors in those teenage movies in the 80s, and I think he did...
Back in the 80s, where a ginger male could be a heartthrob.
He did Pulp Fiction. I think he was showing, hey, I can do some character work, and then I think he was thinking, I'll do Anaconda, play kind of the main character, and maybe I think the idea was we were like, oh, this is Eric Stoltz. He's kind of probably, along with Jon Voight, maybe the bigger star in this movie at the time it was released. So I think the idea was we were supposed to think he's going to be, throughout this movie, a major part of it, and then we're supposed to be kind of shocked that his character's taken out quickly. Kind of Sam Jackson.
Like Sam Jackson,
yeah.
Deep Blue Sea. Now, as far as star power, I mean, I'm sure Ice Cube was up there. He was a big rap name at the time. I don't know how much of an acting career he had at this point.
Well, he did Boys in the Hood.
That was before this?
He had done the film Trespass, if you've ever seen that.
Was this before or after Friday?
Ooh, good question. You know what? I think this might have been like right after Friday. I think this might have been like within... I think this is 97. I want to say Friday was like 95.
So Ice Cube had some star power at this point. I mean, it's a pretty good cast. Inexperienced on a lot of their parts. Or too experienced in Jon Voight's part. But, man, him chewing up the scenery was the best part of this movie.
I have to say the casting is the strong point of this movie. And the way that these people decide to portray their characters. They do what you need in a B monster movie. They kind of ham it up, play these kind of archetype characters.
They react to Jon Voight.
They make it entertaining, unlike Deep Blue Sea, where they just kind of...
If there was a Jon Voight in that movie, it probably would have been an amazing movie.
It would have been, and I think that's the real difference between...
You need a cartoony villain.
You need that. You need a character in a monster movie. You have the monsters, and then you need a strong character to go up against the monsters, or share the screen with them. And this movie delivers in spades, I have to say.
It does, and it delivers to start with another, not big name, but, recognizable. Danny Trejo is how we open this. Well, we actually open this movie with a scrolling explanation of what's going on.
They have to let us know about the vicious giant anacondas.
They're giant. They are monsters that rolled across the earth from days long past.
Up to 40 feet in length.
40 feet long. And these evil monsters aren't like other snakes. What they do is they will kill and eat, but they want to keep killing, so they're just going to regurgitate their meal so they can keep on killing.
And they're considered gods amongst some tribal societies.
Including the Shinishami, which is the MacGuffin of this movie.
It is. You think this is going to be about a hidden tribe, but no.
It's about snakes.
Actually, you don't think it's going to be about a hidden tribe. The title's pretty upfront.
Yeah, they're pretty clear what this movie's going to be about. After we get the whole scrolling explanation of how evil and big these snakes are, we open on a young Danny Trejo.
He is looking
which
baby-faced.
Sounds like an oxymoron.
He's probably like 45, but he looks baby-faced here.
He does, and I mean, Danny Trejo is one of those guys I assumed came out of the womb looking about 40 years old.
Definitely.
Just scarred up and chiseled. He had that thick mustache of his and a greased up ponytail. That's how I imagine Danny Trejo his entire life.
I think the first movie I ever seen him in was Desperado, if you've ever seen that.
I have not.
And it probably came out around the same time as this movie, so I don't know.
Does he look younger than in this? Because normally he looks like Mexican Frankenstein. In this... Well, he also looks like a Mexican Frankenstein, but definitely much younger.
He had no mustache or anything going on in this movie, so...
The mustache really threw me off.
Yeah, I was like, he looks totally different, but, that's
I think I've seen this movie about 5 times when I was younger. Never recognized that was Danny Trejo because there was no mustache.
I gotta be honest, I don't think I ever did either until we watched it this time.
Well, you see his name in the opening credits, you get excited, and then you realize that this panicky man it's an illegal pet shop on the river, I think.
He's got a parrot.
He's got a bunch of parrots and monkeys.
Caged monkeys. And he's being hunted by something. We don't see it.
Yeah, his whole shack is just being shaken up. Floorboards are just bursting out of place. And he looks terrified. He's climbing up on the roof. There's like a crow's nest or something on his house. He climbs all the way up there, just looks terrified. You hear something shaking behind him, and he looks down, and he decides, you know what? Nope, time to be a coward. And he grabs a revolver and shoots himself in the head.
So they do set up.
They build it.
They build that. This is something to be afraid of.
A badass like Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo just took himself out to avoid this thing.
He took the easy way out rather than face that anaconda. We move on to the actual plot of this movie, which is a documentary is being filmed. Eric Stoltz is an adventurer.
And a scientist, I believe do they refer to him as doctor or something? Such title?
I don't know if they ever refer to him as a doctor. They kind of just leave it vague, like he's a explorer, like Steve Irwin type. Except he's not actually the star of the documentary. They have, of course, a British guy with that nice voice to take care of that.
He is a doctor. His character is Dr. Stephen Cow.
Thank you, Internet.
Or Kell, whatever. But yeah, the star of the documentary is an English gentleman by the name of Warren Westridge.
Yeah, pretty much a side character. He's around for some comedic relief.
He's playing the typical effeminate European...
Very snobbish
Englishman.
He shows up immediately with the 2 huge suitcases in the jungle as they're getting onto their riverboat. The first person he talks to just, "You there, take my bags to my room." And of course, this isn't someone who's supposed to be taking bags. This is like a set manager or something like that.
Now, to me, one of this worked better, or maybe it would have been more problematic if they would have done this joke using Ice Cube.
Oh, that was an original thing, and Ice Cube just looked over the script and was like, "Oh no, that's not happening."
He's like, "I would kill a motherfucker."
Yeah, I would smack him right across his limey face. So we have the snobby host narrator. We have Eric Stoltz, the explorer. Jennifer Lopez is like the director.
Yeah.
She's the director. I think she's basically just a film student. But she has the whole love interest going with Eric Stoltz, so he picks her to make this documentary with him. Ice Cube is the cameraman. Playing Ice Cube, of course.
Today's going to be a good day.
That's the very first line, is Jennifer Lopez is coming up to him. She's like, "How are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, it's a pretty good day." Which, for any of you who aren't hip-hop fans... He had a pretty big song called Today's Good Day, or just Good Day. I can't remember the exact title. But great song, which would have been big at the time. What a terrible first line.
They're obviously giving Ice Cube some free reign here to ad-lib and do some of his own stuff. I'm sure this character, however it was written, was like token black guy, and he's like, listen, just let me play it myself. Give it a little something extra. So
yeah,
he does rise above token black guy. He's given heroic moments.
He survives the movie. It's spoiler alert. So that's already a big step forward.
Kind of a progressive film. The two survivors are brown people.
Well, Eric Stoltz makes it. You just forget because he's napping throughout the movie. We'll get
he's
to that.
handicapped and he's useless. But yeah, I guess that ginger boy does make it through to the end.
So capping off the rest of the crew, we have random sex pot. She's the set manager who
Denise Kalberg, played by Carrie Werher.
Whoever she is.
She was a host of a 1980s MTV show. She's an MTV VJ in the late 80s and early 90s. And I know her from her softcore HBO Cinemax late night movie fare.
Well, that sounds
in the
right.
90s. And then I think into the 2000s she did some soap opera work.
Quite the career.
She did the film Eight-Legged Freaks, which is kind of the same vein as this. So she does have a track record of monster movies and softcore pornography.
Yeah, well, she is in this movie just to, for the TNA factor. They were pretty good about Jennifer Lopez giving her, a respectable place. Not so much with Karen. And last up on the crew, we have Owen Wilson as the sound guy. Now, he is bad in this movie.
I don't know if you would assume they hired him to be the comedic relief, but maybe he was not successful yet, so we just associate him with comedies. Maybe he wasn't at the time because he doesn't provide any comedic relief to the film.
Well, it seems like he would be. The very first thing we see from him, he's smoking a joint. He's got a awful Good Day Mate t-shirt he wears throughout the entire movie. But he doesn't really talk ever is the thing.
He talks very little, and when he does, he's kind of like a Weasley character or a horny character.
Well, I think the first line I think he has is they're just going down the river and it's all hot. There's bugs everywhere. And he's like, man, I don't know what it is about this jungle, but it gets me pretty horny. What kind of a line is that?
Is this sexual harassment? Or are they in a relationship?
Oh, she's into it, that's for sure. And they end up almost having sex in the jungle later before they're almost attacked by wilderness. And then we have Mateo, who barely talks. He's the captain of this boat, which will be a bit confusing later, but we'll get to that. So they take off. They're going down the river. The very first night, there's a huge storm, and they see another boat just wrecked along the side of the river with a man screaming for help. And this man is John Voight, the star of the movie. Now, John Voight, you look this up. This is a respectable actor, right?
Yes, he's an Oscar winner.
He's an Oscar multiple time, right?
Multiple times nominated.
Either way, it's impressive.
He had a strong career in the 70s and early 80s as a legitimate actor. He's part of that whole kind of movement with Pacino, De Niro. He's in the league of those kind of guys.
I don't know if I'd put him with those guys if I don't remember him at all, but respectable actor nonetheless. His
career maybe didn't have the longevity. But at the time in the 70s, he's part of that whole kind of new wave of these kind of actors you're seeing at the time.
Okay, I can see that. Well, anyways, he is well past the point of caring in this movie. He's supposed to be Paraguayan or something like that, hanging around the jungle. And this accent that he's doing, it's like a... It's definitely very Tony Montana Scarface. That is a huge inspiration, you can tell that. Mixed with, it keeps going into, French Cajun, or, it's just...
I think it's Tony Montana, Don Corleone. Hey, guys, I got a sore throat. It's hard for me to talk today. A mixture of those two, but, also a stroke victim.
Good old JR.
Yeah.
So anyways,
we shouldn't make fun of that.
They pick him up, and he's trying to pass it off, oh, thank you for the ride. Don't you worry. I know the people at this next village. They're going to take me in and they're going to help me fix my boat. And he's trying to play it cool. And
but you know this motherfucker's lying from the very beginning. Just the look.
Oh, he never stops sneering.
He has a constant sneer, frown,
smug, evil
face the entire time.
Yeah.
It never goes away.
And you can tell it's evil because, Eric Stoltz has a weird smug smirk throughout this movie, too. But his is more like, look at this jackass.
Mm-hmm.
With Jon Voight, you are an evil motherfucker. That's what this sneer means.
I mean, this motherfucker has a ponytail.
It's the greasiest ponytail you've ever seen.
I want to know. We need to hear from Jon Voight. I want to hear about how he got into this character, how he developed it, because I don't want to call this. It's not genius, but there was a lot of effort.
It's entertaining.
There was a lot of effort put forth here.
I disagree entirely. I wouldn't say there was effort. I think this is him not caring and having fun. I think every night before shooting, he got drunk and he watched Scarface. So he would show up and just do a bad Tony Montana, hungover.
I thought he was trying to do like a Paraguayan, whatever.
Peruvian? No, I don't think he's Peruvian.
South American, like Captain Ahab kind of thing.
It's Tony Montana all over.
It's like a Tony Montana, but he has like a, he's after a wild animal and one that scarred him in the past. Very Ahab kind of like.
Well, he's after this giant snake to get rich. We don't know about that yet.
$1 million, in fact.
Yeah, he claims it'll be worth $1 million.
I don't know if a snake really would. You know what? I did research and I found out in real life anacondas are only like 16 feet long.
Well, yeah.
So a 40-foot anaconda may be worth quite a bit of money.
$1 million, though?
I don't know about $1 million.
I don't think Jaws is fetching $1 million. And Jaws is way bigger.
Well, see, Jaws is slightly more realistic because that's a 25-foot shark, and sharks can generally get to about 19 to 20 feet. Seems to be about the maximum. So they just gave an extra 5.
Was Jaws only 25?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, shit, I guess this one did have Jaws beat for size difference, but when I'm thinking millions of dollars, I'm not thinking too many giant animals are hitting that point. Maybe King Kong, then we're talking quite a few million.
Yeah, I'm thinking Anaconda, that might be a $100 million animal there.
Anaconda, $100 million?
No,
oh, King Kong.
King Kong. Anaconda,
King Kong, absolutely.
Anaconda, a 40-foot snake, I don't know, maybe 50 grand.
Yeah.
100 grand at the most.
I could see a few $100,000. But I mean, as far as the hierarchy, King Kong's pretty much the top. I mean, Godzilla, you can't pay for Godzilla. There's no keeping that in captivity.
Yeah, you can't even keep that in captivity. It isn't going to happen.
I mean, any of the Godzilla monsters, those are just a step too high. But King Kong, that's the perfect size to get a few $100 million together. That's, maybe keep it in Australia.
Yeah. I mean,
just all of Australia, let him run around.
I think the only thing that might be worth more than King Kong is the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park.
Ooh.
Because, I mean, a giant gorilla, we've seen regular sized gorilla, so a giant one, yeah, it's amazing.
That's a tough call.
A dinosaur, that's something we're bringing back. So I think that's going to fetch a little bit more money.
That's a tough one. We might have to poll some people on that. Well, once we get this posted, we'll see about putting up a poll.
Well, if you had a choice to go to a fucking Kong Island or Jurassic Park, where are you going for vacation?
Well, it depends on which iteration of Kong Island we're talking. I mean, Kong Island had dinosaurs.
Well, this is Kong Island, as in, like, we captured King Kong, we have to put that motherfucker on an island, because we've seen the movie, we know you can't bring him to the mainland.
Okay, well, alright, we gotta balance this out, though. Obviously, a whole park full of dinosaurs, that's worth more than King Kong. But one dinosaur against one King Kong?
One T-Rex.
One T-Rex? I'm thinking I'll pay more to see King Kong.
Really?
Yeah. I think he's bigger. He's more of an anomaly.
More of an anomaly than an extinct animal coming back?
I mean, they exist. This is an animal that doesn't exist. What are you talking about?
King Kong exists, just not in that size.
Well, I mean, lizards exist, but they're not the size of a T-Rex.
True.
Alright, so anyways, back to Anaconda.
Guys, you let us know.
Jon Voight has infiltrated their ship. He shoots a knowing look to Mateo, and they have a little smug stare down, so it looks like they're partners in something nefarious. It turns out, so they're talking, Jon Voight's asking what you guys are up to, and they say they're looking for the Shinishami, something like that?
Sure.
The Shinishami tribe, which is lost rainforest, very secretive, hard to find tribe. And he's like, oh, no, they're Shinishami. I see them all the time.
What? You see them?
He sees them all the time. This is his river.
Well, that's why we're here. Can you show us where they are? Is basically the response.
And it's well, I think he had some line. He's chopping a fish apart with this like big butcher knife, and he's just like, "For you, my friends, I take you to the Shimishami."
The way he catches...
I keep doing more of a French accent because it's so hard. He's just mixing up so many accents for this Paul Cerrone.
It is an original accent. I have to give him that. He has mixed...
Do you give him credit, or is he
give him
fucking around out there?
I give him credit. I told you, Siskel and Ebert, when they reviewed this movie, they were in awe of this performance. Now, I've only read a transcript of the review, so I haven't seen it. I don't know if they were being smartasses.
Yeah.
But they gave it 2 thumbs up, and they were talking about how great this man was. And
He's entertaining.
Whether they're being sarcastic or not, I'm with them.
I mean, it's entertaining. There's no doubt about that. But whether this is an accurate to anything accent, that remains to be seen.
Well, I think we're supposed to believe... Now, you could go many different routes with this character. You could believe everything he says, but I think we're supposed to believe he's lying about a few things. So this whole thing could be a scam. This could be a fake accent that he's doing. This could just be some con man from Texas.
He keeps doing the accent well after the jig's up on the scam.
Yeah, but maybe he's just been doing it for so many years.
He forgot.
It's now just part of him.
All right, I'm done with this snake. I can go back to my normal voice.
But
I'm so glad not to have to.
Oh no.
My God!
I forgot how to speak. I like to believe, though, this is his legitimate accent, that he does come from some little village, and this is where how the people speak.
Cerrone or Voight?
Cerrone. Voight.
I like to think John Voight talks like this in his day-to-day life. Every cab or limo he gets into, people are just shocked.
Well, I have to admit, as a small child, this would be my first introduction to John Voight. I did assume this is how he spoke, and then I seen him in other films after this as I became interested in movies, and I found out, no, he does not. This is not. Being
totally honest, I don't think I've ever seen another John Voight movie. I saw him in Seinfeld, but he didn't say anything. He just bit George Costanza.
I think he's in... Is he in some of them Transformer movies?
I don't think so.
I thought he was in some of those things.
I think Anthony Hopkins is, sadly enough.
Jesus.
But, oh no, I've seen one other movie, not that I remember a second of it, but John Voight is in the Baby Geniuses movie series.
I've never seen,
for some reason.
Never had the pleasure.
I'm sure I was like 8 to 10 years old when I saw it, so I couldn't tell you a word about it. I know they're trash now, but he's still hanging around.
Was that a movie where babies could talk?
I think they could talk. They're super geniuses. Okay. I'm pretty sure at this point they're in space. I think that's the newest sequel.
Anyways, where are we in this movie?
So where we're at, they just picked up John Voight. He's just laying around in a hammock, leering at all the women. And we get a few love scenes going. We cut to the quarters. Owen Wilson and Ice Cube just hanging around smoking. Karen's just kind of dancing awkwardly by herself.
Dancing to some...
90s R&B.
90s R&B music, is that what it's supposed to be?
Wordless R&B. And then we cut outside to Jennifer Lopez and Eric Stoltz doing their best to have chemistry and be romantic. There's a bunch of fireflies, and Eric Stoltz is like, hey, come here. And Jennifer Lopez is like, oh, what are those? Are those fireflies? And he probably regrets hiring her to do a nature documentary at that moment, but he plays it off. He's just like, yeah, they're fireflies, this is how they mate. They flash their lights at each other to show they're ready. She's just like, oh, that's cool. So which one's the flashers, the men or the women? He's like, well, that's interesting you should ask. It's actually the women and the men. The women flash rapidly, but the men do big, long flashes.
Oh.
And it's trying to be an innuendo, I think, but it's just awkward and weird. They're staring at bugs.
But it works on her.
And it works. He's just like, I missed you. That's all it took, so they start making out a bit. We cut to, I guess, a more... couple with a bit more chemistry, which is Owen Wilson and Karen, whoever she is.
Denise is her character. It's Denise and Gary.
And Gary. So they go off into the jungle alone to get some sounds of the jungle for the documentary is what they're claiming. They start having sex almost immediately, which you don't do that in a jungle.
I would not do it for hygiene purposes. I don't know. I don't.
I mean, it's muggy. There's bugs.
Yeah, there's bugs. A fucking wild boar.
They end up getting attacked by a wild boar. But even if that hadn't happened, you're gonna get like a scorpion or something right in the asshole.
Some people may enjoy that, but I wouldn't. They are saved by Cerrone, who
when they're attacked by the boar,
who
not
kills
a
the boar.
In the asshole.
But are we to believe that Cerrone followed them into the jungle when they were having sex and he's kind of a peeping Tom?
Oh, that's there's no other way I see it.
Are we supposed to take it like, oh, he heard the boar and he's like, oh, I guess I better go rescue those kids?
Well, I think they were inland a little ways, so it would have been incredible timing for him to be able to do that. He had a rifle with a scope on it, so I think he was just staring them down, getting a little peep show going. But he does shoot the boar, which at this point we didn't actually know it was a boar. We just see the creature's perspective rushing at them.
Oh, so we're supposed to think it's an anaconda.
We're supposed to think it's the anaconda.
Fake out.
And we actually also, so we switch the camera, we just see Owen Wilson and Karen running towards it, and all of a sudden they see John Voight standing with a rifle who shoots. We think maybe he shot one of them. But no, then it goes back to the boat. Eric Stoltz hears the gunshot. He's ready to be Mr. Action Hero that Eric Stoltz was born to be.
I've never been less intimidated by a man with a gun.
Oh, how can you look like a wimp holding a big old revolver? I didn't think it was possible.
He is probably never allowed to hold a gun in a movie again.
Yeah, he shouldn't be.
I mean, it's terrible. Hey, Eric Stoltz is a talented man, I'm sure. This character just does not work for me in any way.
No, it doesn't. You know what would have made it? Michael J. Fox. No.
You know what?
I mean, if Eric Stoltz lost the part in Anaconda to Michael J. Fox, I think he would have killed himself.
I would buy Michael J. Fox as more intimidating with a gun. Has he ever held a gun in a movie?
Not that I can think of. Well, maybe the Old West part of Wild.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, he did. Yeah, it's much more intimidating.
Which, I mean, I try and forget that movie.
Well, we all probably feel that way, but...
So he saves them. They bring the boar on board, and they're going to eat it. And we see another first-person view from a monster. This time it is the anaconda just staring at their boat from the jungle. But it decides to take a little trip. It goes off to the right, where we see a puppet panther just lying there, blank-faced. The anaconda strikes, and we get the most hilarious close-up of panicked stuffed panther I've ever seen.
Obviously, they spent all the money on the anaconda. Once again, with these movies, you can tell with the effects where most of the money went.
I think I saw a little thing online that it cost like $100,000 every 10 seconds the anaconda was on screen to animate.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Well, that explains a lot.
The puppet's better anyways. You should stick with the puppet, but...
The puppet's not even that great in this movie.
It's an okay puppet.
It's okay. It's better than the CG. It's all kind of shitty, but I guess it's not that bad. Maybe I'm being a little harsh.
Yeah, I think you're being a bit harsh. But anyways, and not in this part, because they just wrap toy anaconda around this stuffed panther and kind of wiggle it around in front of the camera for a little bit. And then finally you see it's still the same stuffed panther with the same shocked expression, but it's tilted up so you can't see its face, getting dragged away, and it's left an eye on the ground. It's so dead.
Ooh, a nasty little eyeball.
Little eyeball. Not a panther's eyeball. It is definitely like a fake human eye. They didn't bother with that. It's got the round pupil and everything.
They're like, what kind of eyes do they have? I don't know. Just fucking
This is what we have. Just throw the fake eye out there. The next day... They are out going down the river again, and they get snagged on, what is it, just like a tree or something gets stuck in the propeller?
Some kind of bullshit. A rope?
Yeah, it's something like... I mean, this boat is broken constantly in the movie, or blocked. That's one of the main plot points is just, man, how do we get this boat going again? Oh my god, I almost forgot to talk about... Oh, wait, no, that's coming up. Sorry, we have the movie playing on silent in the background. And one of my favorite things just happened, and I was worried I forgot to talk about it. But that's still coming. So where we're at is the propeller's all jammed up.
So the big hero...
Eric Stoltz, of course.
Has to dive in and fix it.
So he dons his scuba gear because they have that. They have scuba gear. No medic. No medic is on this
They
trip.
have everything you need. They have all the camera positions. They have a captain, a sound guy, a production.
They brought an explorer.
And he really doesn't do anything other than I don't know, he says some bullshit like we should go up here.
He seems like a producer who just came along for the ride, really.
He's worthless, and we're about to be rid of him pretty soon.
Well, not quite, but basically. He goes down to cut loose the rope so they can get moving again. John Voight hands him his scuba tank. He's like, all right, here you go. Good luck down there. The river is dangerous, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a little conversation joking around about this fish that swims up your urethra and gets lodged in your penis. So, comedy hijinks there.
I was hoping that was the scene we were going to get.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd hate it, but that'd be great.
Yeah, but we didn't.
We didn't. Instead, what we get is Eric Stoltz scubas down. He cuts the rope free, and on his way back up, you just see him struggling and choking and thrashing around. Ice Cube jumps in and saves him, drags him up. And the moment they get the mask off, they open his mouth, and a big old wasp just crawls right out.
It's pretty gnarly.
It's pretty gross. Kind of Silence of the Lambs-ish.
I still don't get how that would work, though. I don't know much about scuba gear, but can you really put a wasp into the tank, and it would come through the regulator?
Well, yeah, they'd never really explain, was it in the mask the whole time? Because he would have noticed that.
Yeah.
There's no way you can open a pressurized oxygen tank and put a wasp in. But anyways, John Voight has snuck, this is obviously not supposed to be known just yet, but you can figure it out. John Voight has put a poisonous wasp in this scuba tank somehow. It's gone into his throat, stung it up good, so it's swollen shut and he can't breathe. John Voight gives him an emergency tracheotomy right on this dirty riverboat. Now,
see, he's not that bad of a guy. He'll fucking paralyze you with a wasp in the air tank, but he doesn't want to kill you. He's not a murderous son of a bitch.
Well, that's the thing. He is a murderous son of a bitch. Why did he save Eric Stoltz?
Good question.
Yeah, we don't get much of an explanation about that.
I think he says we gotta go upriver to get to medical help.
Oh,
so I think the idea,
okay.
if he just died, they just turn around.
That makes sense. And earlier, we forgot to mention this. They came to a fork in the river where there was a statue. John Voight gave this whole big story about once you get to the wall of the Shinishami, there's two giant Anaconda warriors. They're guardians, and they're gonna keep you out of the Shinishami land.
Yeah.
And then you come to a wall, and Eric Stoltz cuts him off, and then at the end's the head of a giant anaconda. That's not a Shinishami.
That's the Mumbabe.
That's the Maku tribe or something.
Machu Picchu.
Yeah, so he's getting suspicious. John Voight might not know what he's talking about. John Voight sees that threat and decides to wasp it.
Well, see, I'm on board with Paul Cerrone. I think that motherfucker doesn't know what he's talking about. I think fucking what's his name?
He's a doctor.
Dr. Steve. I don't think Steve knows what he's talking about. He's never been here. He's just some interloper wanting to make a documentary, make a few bucks off these shimmy-shama. I think Mr. Cerrone, he knows the shimmy-shama. He's been trying to wrangle their fucking snake.
Now, if I'm going to trust one of them, it might be the guy with the doctorate and the full khaki explorer suit instead of the guy with the pink t-shirt tucked into his fucking cargo pants.
He changes his shirts. He's wearing a black one halfway through the movie.
Well, he changes a bit, but he still just looks like a greasy river hobo, which he basically is.
Well, what's more badass?
Oh, greasy river hobo. I'm not arguing who's more badass, but who knows their stuff more. I'm probably going to go with the doctor.
Well,
anyways, speaking of doctors, this greasy river hobo gives an emergency trach, which nobody has a problem with because they didn't bother bringing a medic. I feel like the likelihood of him screwing this up, I might just prefer to die. I'm already unconscious, the wasp has poisoned me or something.
It's probably going to get infected.
Exactly, that thing's getting infected. He probably isn't the best at giving a trach. He's going to fuck up your vocal cords for life.
Well, we're not losing much.
We're not losing much there.
For that character.
So anyways, he saves Eric Stoltz's life, who goes into a coma or something.
Basically becomes comatose at this point.
Yeah, he takes a nap through the rest of this movie. So with Eric Stoltz gone, it's time for alpha male John Voight to take over the boat. And he says, we got to go back up the way I wanted to go before, because there's actually a hospital there, by the way.
Yeah, there is.
And everyone's immediately like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, you don't worry about that. I know this river. This is my river.
This is my river. Baby bird.
He calls Karen Baby Bird. He leers at Jennifer Lopez. He's just the creepiest, greasiest man you will ever see.
I would have loved to have seen movies just with this character. This is great. This is
we need more of Paul Cerrone. So Paul Cerrone has taken over the boat. He's telling them what to do. Not in an evil way, just in an alpha male way. They come across Danny Trejo's torn apart shack.
And they go exploring.
He's like, well, there's probably some supplies there. Or whatever. We're going to go there. We're going to look for the supplies.
So for some reason, they're going
and
to...
nobody challenges that.
Yeah. And they all could have just drove off without him at this point, because he gets out to go check it out.
They really could have.
I mean,
well,
the Captain Mateo.
Mateo went with them, as did Ice Cube.
So I guess
they
technically
were a little stuck there.
They would have been stealing Mateo's boat at that point.
Yeah.
But...
Mateo, who is totally in on it, as we enter this torn up shop, one of the first things we see is a faded sentimental picture of John Voight, Danny Trejo, and Mateo holding a giant snake. John Voight goes down to the basement, and there's just a big old trunk full of snake hunting gear.
That's what he really needs.
And he finds it, he gives it a big old grin, and then Ice Cube comes down asking what he found. He's being all secretive, like, oh, this is nothing. You don't need to worry about this. I will worry about this, but help me bring it back to the boat.
And somehow Mateo gets lost in all of this.
Yeah, he just gets left behind. They go on without him. So, of course, man alone is dead meat. The Anaconda shows up to get its first human kill of the actual crew, not counting Trejo, of course. It latches around Mateo instantly, coils around the body, starts squeezing, bites the head, and then twists the body to break his neck. It's fucking radical.
It's pretty... This is a vicious fucking snake, man.
It's cool as hell. Like, the CGI, the cartoon... It's not the highest quality, but it's cool enough to where you can forgive that, I think. And John Voight and Ice Cube go back to the ship. He's still being secretive about wanting to hunt a giant snake. For some reason, he unrolls a giant snake skin. This is from an anaconda.
Huh?
The anacondas, they can get to be 40 feet long.
40 feet? Jesus.
40 feet long. We catch that, we sell it, we gonna be millionaires. I got two things in this world. My never-ending quest to catch an anaconda and my balls, and I don't break them for nobody.
Oh, wow, he went real deep in the Tony Montana.
Yeah. Well, I gotta try and do a Tony Montana line to get this accent back on track, because it is all over the place.
Do you think he was sincere about sharing that $1 million with everyone?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Man. So, they finally realize that Mateo is dead. They ask people to go look for him. They send Ice Cube. Jennifer Lopez asks John Voight, and he's like, no, maybe I'll do that another day.
Yeah, he's just like, nah, not today.
No, he's dead.
He
doesn't say that, but he's very, fuck that. So the big speech John Voight gives, let's catch this snake. It's worth millions of dollars. We're going to sell it. It'll be fantastic. Everyone calls him out on his shit, like, you are a crazy person, except for Owen Wilson, who is swayed by this immediately.
Okay, I get this Shimmy Shama stuff's interesting, but if they would have switched this to a documentary about Paul Cerrone hunting a giant anaconda, I think the fucking documentary would have been wildly successful. That would have been on fucking... Hey, it wouldn't be Shark Week on Discovery Channel, it'd be Anaconda Week.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great, there's no doubt in that, but... We already have this guy who clearly has his moral scruples. Probably not the guy you want leading any kind of expedition.
Well, I mean, I can't disagree with all that. But I'm just saying, I just feel like an Anaconda documentary would have been far more interesting than a Shimmy Shama.
Yeah, it definitely would have been. But anyways, the whole point of the matter is Owen Wilson betrays everyone, gets hold of a rifle, and we just cut to the next shot. Is everyone's, tied up? While Owen Wilson is just carrying around his little rifle, looking awkward, like he's never held a gun in his life. Which I can't tell if that's because the character hasn't. I mean, he probably hasn't. Or if Owen Wilson's just a shitty actor at this point. which I think is a bit more likely.
It could be a combination of both.
Combination of both. It's awkward, you know, the lady he was having his whole affair with is pretty heartbroken about all this. And while he's, you know, doing his security guard Paul Blart rounds, Jon Voight's getting busy trying to attract this snake. He shoots a monkey.
If you didn't know, anacondas love monkeys.
Oh, they hate him apparently, as we will see. He shoots a monkey and just puts it on a giant fishing hook, basically, and trails it behind the boat where they're keeping a floodlight on the hook. Interrupted by fucking Anaconda, latches onto this monkey, starts pulling the boat around. Jon Voight's shooting at it. Owen Wilson's confused, of course. I think he frees the people who are tied up in the kerfuffle, because, you know, he's an idiot, but he's not totally evil.
I mean, the snake just kind of rampages around the fucking barge.
Oh, it rampages for a good while. There's a hilarious bit where it gets off the hook, and it pops up out of the water right in front of our annoying British pompous host with the monkey in its mouth and just spits it right in his face.
That was a great moment.
This guy, he's such a cartoon character already. He might as well have been wearing a monocle at that moment. Just, oh my, and a feint, something like that.
To me, he's like the real heel of the movie. Jon Voight kind of straddles out like kind of a cool bad guy kind of thing. You know what? This Paul Serone guy's all right. So
no one is like that.
I think he's all right. I'm with him. This guy's just trying to make a living, and these people are getting in his way.
He's doing a whole lot of murder.
Well, sometimes you have to murder people to catch an anaconda.
Anyways, the snake's rampaging around, and in the whole kerfuffle, it pops up again. This time it doesn't have a mouthful of monkey, and just bites Owen Wilson right in the face.
Owen Wilson gets it.
Oh, he gets it good. It's actually, it's kind of the same kill as before, where it grabs onto the head, twists around, and then just, twists the body to break the neck.
Oddly,
only he gets it a lot worse, I think.
And also it doesn't regurgitate him, that we see.
Well, we don't see that. Well, it probably goes off and does that later. But while the snake is escaping, there is a absolutely hilarious, probably one of the best scenes in the movie. We see the big CGI snake swimming away, and as it goes by, you just see a big old lump in its belly, human-shaped lump, and Owen Wilson's face is pressed up against the snake's stomach, screaming.
And they should have had it so he's still alive, and he was clawing at it.
Oh,
That'd even been more ridiculous.
I think it was just missing the sound effect. Oh, man. Help. Whatever Owen Wilson sounds like. I can't do it.
I think you got it.
The only Owen Wilson line anyone knows is just that big old wow. That's Owen Wilson right there.
I think that'd be it. That should have been his reaction to the snake.
Yeah, that should have been. That would have. I don't know when he started doing that. It wasn't at this point. He never says wow, which is a missed opportunity. It would have been perfect. So we're getting to the point where obviously everyone all realize that Jon Voight is super evil, absolutely rampantly evil. So Jennifer Lopez decides to take one for the team. She's going to go into the cabin where he's just kind of sitting around doing nothing, really. She starts talking about how it's so scary, that snake is so big, and she needs protection.
Oh, the seduction scene.
The seduction. Jon Voight loves it. His sneer gets even creepier. Oh yeah? You need a protection? It's been a long time since I had a woman. Which, that's the creepiest way to say it, right?
Jesus Christ, I don't want to know how long it's been. It hasn't been long enough. It needs to be longer. Cause
it definitely needs to be longer.
I love Paul Serone, but...
And how long? This guy's a river hobo. He probably hasn't scrubbed down there for quite a while.
Oh, Jesus. Nah.
If it came down to it and she had to do that work, that's a lot of grime you gotta scrub away first.
Some jungle rot down there, for sure.
Jungle... Oh, that's awful. I hated those words together.
It cannot be good.
He whips her around, starts making out, but then he opens his eyes and there's a mirror that shows Ice Cube sneaking up behind with a knife, and he just flies into a big old rage like, you think you can fuck with me? Nobody fucks with me! Obviously a little less Tony Montana than that. He pulls a gun on Ice Cube. He kisses J-Lo again, just gets a big old kiss and then throws her to the side. And he's just yelling at everyone, brandishing a gun around. And all of a sudden, the window behind him shatters, and he falls with a big old bloody bruise on his head. And it's pompous Brit guy. he's also hamming it up with his accent, and he has this awful bit where he's just
lovey.
It's an asshole in one. Hole in one, because he knocked him out with a golf club, and he's an asshole. That's some high-quality punmanship right there.
Yeah, fucking Westridge, played by Jonathan Hyde. I've seen him in a few films.
He's in, like, Jumanji, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is he the hunter?
He very well could be. He is Van Pelt.
Yeah, that's the hunter.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now they're going down the river. They have Cerrone was knocked out. They tie him to the mast and just leave him stuck to their boat, which, I mean, just kill him, right?
Yeah, or kick it, just throw him overboard.
Yeah, I mean, there's a snake that's, you figure, as good as murder. Maybe you tie him up off the boat and leave him. I personally think, you know, he's trying to kill people. He's using you as bait. Just murder him. You're down in the Amazon. Nobody's ever going to know.
He's probably wanted. He's probably a fugitive.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure the river police are just, like, paddling up and down looking for him.
He's probably wanted for, like, unpaid child support.
Unpaid child support, snake smuggling.
There's a whole list of felonies and charges.
Just they want to arrest him for that accent.
Yeah.
Just like the linguistics police. There's a detective who's been hunting him down for years. Hot on his trail. Anyways, he's tied to the mast, and shockingly enough, we run into yet another obstacle, which is, I think it's like a downed tree or something this time.
Oh, is this where they come to this abandoned work area, like with the waterfall and all that shit? Is that what
there's a waterfall. The work area comes a bit later, I think.
Earlier in the movie, they blew up that dam.
Oh yeah, they blew up a dam and it was full of snakes. Well, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we skipped over that.
All right, so let's just talk about that for a split second. We totally missed this scene where they're going down the river. I think Eric Stoltz is in his coma at this point. And they come up to a big old dam. Conveniently, he hadn't mentioned, and everyone's like, oh, I'm pretty sure this means we weren't supposed to be here. It's like, no, it's fine. We can get past this. And he pulls out dynamite.
Hey, because when you're a snake hunter, you never know.
Well, he didn't even have his, gearbox at this point, I don't think. So he just was carrying dynamite on his person, and they blow up this dam, and it is full of snakes just raining all over the boat. You know, Cerrone's just not even fazed by this. He's just, oh, these are just the little babies.
He's like kicking them
to your mom, baby.
He's like kicking them off the boat.
Everyone's freaking out, and he just loves these snakes. A tiny one bites onto the pompous Brit's finger, and he's hammering up. It's just like, oh my, get it off, get it off.
I can't stand blood.
And Cerrone just grabs his hand, and he's staring at the snake, just trying to eat his pinky. It's the tiniest snake ever. And he just gives this big old grimace. He's like, yeah, you like that snake? That snake's just a little baby. Why are you being such a little girl? Just a baby snake. And he pulls it right off, throws it over the side. And, you know, this is, you know, showing off his skills as a snake hunter, I guess.
He wrangled that snake right off his pinky.
Yeah, that 5-inch snake. He was all over it. So anyways, shooting way forward since we forgot.
The boat runs aground because they get to this what would you call a little port, a little dock area.
Yeah. And there's a waterfall.
There's
nearby.
A waterfall, which I want to say, that's what Cerrone said. If you follow his story, he said they say a story, there's a giant waterfall. Behind the waterfall, there's a giant lake, or there's the giant Anaconda. So I like to think he's right about this legend of the Shimmy-Shama.
I don't know. Well, he also said there'd be an anaconda as big as a mountain, which seems a bit much. I think he basically stole that off Norse mythology. That's straight up the Midgard serpent.
Well, you know, but maybe that's where the Shimmy-Shama got it.
They're South Americans.
Yeah, but they probably stole their mythology from some. I don't know. I think it's made up for the movie.
Exactly. Anyways, Paul Cerrone's full of shit is the point I'm getting at. To get the boat off, they have to set up ropes with winches to pull themselves out. Ice Cube's divvying up the work. He's like, all right, me and Jennifer Lopez, we're going to go tie a rope around this tree. You expendable English guy, go tie a rope around that tree.
Yeah, you have
over
to go
there
all
by
the way
yourself.
to that tree.
And I swear the actor, you can just see it oh, okay, well, cool.
And then what's her name? The other chick, she has to stay on the boat and guard Cerrone.
Because she's obviously the best choice, not Ice Cube. Or anyone. I mean, this is a frazzled, she's still pretty distraught about Owen Wilson still screaming in the middle of that snake, probably.
Well...
It keeps swimming by, and you can just hear him like, oh, man, this digestion is just taking so long. It's weird.
It's weird, man. But, so she gets a flying head scissors.
Well, he starts taunting her.
Yeah.
She's like, well, she comes over right away and is like, she's like, I'm going to kill you, right? Oh, you shouldn't stare in the eyes of a man you plan on killing. It'll haunt you for the rest of your days.
Baby bird.
Baby bird. So she kind of, pauses at that. She has a moment of hesitation. And that's all the time that John Voight needs to jump like a Superman.
This guy has some fucking ups from flat on his ass.
Like Mario jump.
He jumps up at least...
From a sitting position, not a squatting position.
Yeah, from a sitting position, he jumps at least... What?
5 feet.
Because she has to be like 5'5" at the shortest, probably.
Yeah, a bit over. So 5 feet, something like that. And just head scissors her, like wraps his legs around her throat and strangles her with his thighs. His eyes are bulging. He's just doing like a fake prayer or something. All you can hear is just every now and then, Spiritus Sanctus.
Man, can you imagine if Paul Cerrone got into some jiu-jitsu or something? This from his thigh squeeze there.
Oh, just the thigh squeeze.
Yeah, we're not even talking about a triangle choke or anything. Just a thigh squeeze, he's able to take her out.
Well, I mean, she had some pretty shit defense. You just have to roll with the choke.
He had his arms tied behind his back.
I mean, it was an amateur display. That was Chael Sonnen levels of submission defense. You roll with the choke. You could have gotten out of that.
Well, I think
had side control.
I think almost anyone could get out of a head scissors. I don't think that's a real move. But
I mean, you can get out of head scissors unless you're facing a Mexican masked wrestler. They're pretty good at it.
I wish head scissors was real. I wish you'd have seen that in MMA.
Oh, that'd be great. Just some flying hurricanranas, things like that. Wrestling, I swear there's some moves that should transfer over to MMA but don't, and I'm just waiting for the day so I can mark out.
Well, sometimes you see like modified power bombs if it's a reversal from a triangle choke.
Well, yeah, that was Rampage's big thing. But I want
suplexes. You'll see a belly to belly
suplexes was like a
belly to back
actual wrestling thing first, and
but
then it came over.
Well, pro wrestling used to be real, and then it became fake. So.
Yeah, but I mean, I want like a stunner,
a leg drop, a diamond cutter.
I want a stunner.
I think the RKO would be the most real, or a DDT. I bet you could probably see a DDT. I bet if someone really wanted to pull one off, they could.
Well, by the rules, that's illegal. You can't spike someone on the top of their head.
You can't spike someone on the head. Damn it. Yeah. Maybe a bulldog.
A bulldog? Yeah. Well, I think there was a bulldog choke that happened. Maybe a nice choke slam. That'd be pretty badass. Well, I've seen the choke slam once, kind of, and it was from like an absolute freak show fight where it was Travis Fulton, who was a big old heavyweight who had like 70 fights at the time, fighting someone with no fighting experience ever. He was like 120 pounds, wearing a full karate outfit. He got fucking choke slammed and went unconscious.
Well,
it ruled.
What about a big boot? You could probably get a
good running start and a big boot.
Kick.
Hell yeah.
That's probably plausible. I think there's a few things you could do.
So take notes, UFC fighters. Watch Anaconda. Get that head scissor technique down first, and then work from there.
Exactly. Anyways.
To
get back onto the movie.
Back to the movie. Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube just get the rope tied up to this tree so they can get their leverage when there's the Anaconda again. It shows up. It starts going at them. I think it actually... No, it doesn't bite Ice Cube yet. So it starts coming at them.
But the Englishman,
uncharacteristically heroic suddenly, starts waving his arms, calling it over, which I guess works. It understands English. Or just hates the English.
It probably hates the English. They probably came over and conquered whatever country this Anaconda came from.
Well, it heard that accent.
Colonized.
And it's just like... so it runs, or doesn't run, it's a snake. So it starts chasing down after whoever the English guy is, who escapes by climbing up a waterfall. There's like the rock wall behind it, and he's climbing up it, scrambling. They get back, Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube get back to the boat, only to discover that Cerrone is loose. Mm-hmm. So he starts causing them up. Yeah. He's beating the shit out of them.
Oddly, he's beating the shit out of Ice Cube. But
bullshit movie. I mean, they're kind of even in a fight, and then all of a sudden he has a knife and stabs him in the leg.
True.
Which, no. Ice Cube will beat the shit out of John Voight
I believe so, but
99 times out of 100. Let's just be clear on that. This 50-year-old man, even with his amazing head scissors,
I was gonna say
he's not taking.
If he would have got Ice Cube in the fucking head scissors,
if he got him in
been off.
Well, I think he can only jump 5 feet, not like Ice Cube's probably a good 5'10".
You think so? He always struck me as a shorter gentleman.
Yeah. Either way, I think he's a bit too tall for the head scissors, so his special technique is out the window.
All right.
John Voight is kicking both of their asses. While this is going on, the snake is still chasing the English guy. He's hiding behind the waterfall, just pressed up in a little cave.
They do the little bit of the Lost World thing where the T-Rex sticks its face through the little waterfall thing.
It just peers through the waterfall, and it just gives them that little, like, hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm going to eat you.
So he decides to jump for it, jumps through the air, and the snake just catches him midair by the face. It's awesome.
That was pretty awesome.
I think it, like, snaps his neck by way of, like, basically hanging him, kinda.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's pretty fucking cool.
It's probably the coolest kill in the movie, I have to say.
Yeah, it's real awesome. I mean, it's not a character I care about, but man, what a cool death. Down on the boat, the fight is really going poorly for Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube. Jennifer Lopez was knocked aside, so she's unconscious, basically. Ice Cube is stuck under John Voight, who's pressing a knife down on him, when suddenly Eric Stoltz wakes up and shoves a knife into John Voight's back. So he heard all this kerfuffle, and he was like, hey, you guys need an action hero?
I don't know. What the fuck was... How did he know what the fuck was happening?
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
I mean,
like,
I guess...
last he woke up, John Voight wasn't evil yet. He just woke up and immediately stabbed it. Well, I think it's come to think of it. The first thing he saw was John Voight trying to stab Ice Cube.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we didn't see this because they didn't shoot it. But
he was already a shady character.
He, like, came out and he's like, what's going on? And he sees the scuffle. Then he grabs a knife and he's like, I kill that motherfucker.
So he stabs him, and John Voight, it just kind of pisses him off, really. He turns around and he puts his thumb in the trach hole, and that's fucking
Which
awesome.
is a vicious fucking move, my friend.
It starts pumping blood.
That's like gouging someone's fucking eye. That's like a next level dirty shit.
Yeah, Eric Stoltz immediately regrets his decision. He's just trying to fight that choke off. But now that the pressure's off, Ice Cube can wake up, just deliver a big old haymaker, and knock John Voight off the boat into the water, where you would assume the Anaconda will get to him. Apparently not. Well, actually, you wouldn't assume the Anaconda will get to him, because the Anaconda pops up, and just it goes for Jennifer Lopez, who has a rifle all of a sudden. She shoots that thing in the head a good 4 times.
Blows its fucking head away.
Yeah, she murders the shit out of that snake. The eye pops off. We see some brains. It's a pretty solid killing a puppet.
It is. It's pretty vicious.
Then they have to help Eric Stoltz back to bed. He goes back to his nap.
He's like, I'm going to sleep. Thanks.
All right.
Why does this Anaconda never try to eat the fucking comatose motherfucker that's not running?
Well, he's in the middle of the boat. He's not on the deck.
That Anaconda's fucking slithered through every single fucking thing we've ever seen.
Well, yeah, we have to ignore the fact that it tore up a house earlier, so I guess it's just more distracted by the people on the deck. Who knows? Whatever the reason, Stoltz wakes up for about 5 minutes to be Mr. Hero and then goes back to his coma.
Good riddance.
It was almost like they didn't know what to do. Like, how do we have him win this fight? Can Eric Stoltz wake up? Okay, but he's going right back to bed. His contract says he gets to nap.
We cannot afford another day of Eric Stoltz on this movie.
And it's cheap.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, Eric Stoltz is working cheap, but their budget, they had to spend so much on this cartoon snake. Cerrone pops back up immediately and knocks Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube out with, like, the butt of a spear or something, I think?
A butt of something.
Yeah, he knocks him out with some kind of stick. They wake up in, what is like a river mill?
A river refueling station for riverboats?
Well, whatever it is, it's a snake factory now.
It's
like a snake mill.
A snake mill. Although, apparently, no one knows where these fucking shimmy shamas are, but we're right in their fucking territory, and there's an old factory that's...
Right there.
Right there. But whatever.
Yeah, these lost people about a block away from the Denny's.
From a fucking shoe factory, or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, it's long abandoned, just filled with snakes, but these are just the babies.
Because then, the big, bad snake.
The big bad snake Well, we've had that one. Apparently, there's another one, an even bigger one, even bigger and blacker.
Yeah, this is a black mamba.
Last one was a big green one. This one's black now. John Voight, we see him walking around them. He's juicing monkeys for their blood, so he can pour an entire bucket of monkey blood all over Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez.
And he's got this real Looney Tunes kind of plan to catch the snake.
Oh, it's
dropping a
zany.
Dropping a fucking, what do you call
It's
that?
a big old net.
A net. A fucking net onto it.
So he coats them in blood, he scampers up a ladder into a crane where there's a net. The snake shows up, comes at him, he drops the net on the snake. But then I can't remember, did the snake break loose on its own, or did they get loose, in which Proxy helped release the snake?
Some bullshit happens, and the
Shenanigans
Ice Cube and J-Lo get free, and so does the snake.
Yeah, I can't really detail more because my notes here just say shenanigans. John Voight's chasing around Jennifer Lopez with a pickaxe or something for a little bit, until all of a sudden the snake turns and looks at him.
And this is the first time we see some fear in Cerrone's eyes.
Yeah, he doesn't like this.
Yeah.
He turns and starts to run, but Ice Cube sees a little pulley, pulls on it, and the net comes up and blocks Cerrone's path.
But he has to do some real acting to act like that net blocked his path.
Oh yeah, he's just like patting it down, like
he's like, oh, it's in my way.
Yeah, it's like a cat playing with a piece of tissue paper, honestly.
Because he could have just like swatted it aside and kept running, but
he can't, because the snake just grabs onto him, latches on, it really constricts the shit out of him. The only thing left showing is his face and the top of his head.
And then we get he's
squeezing the shit out of it, and we get a pretty great camera view.
I like to call this the vagina shot.
That's not wrong.
As if, now you can make up this what you will, but it's from inside the snake, and we see its mouth open.
And just billowy pink wall lowering itself onto John Voight's head.
And it's a great shot.
It's a great shot. And while he's constricting, the jaw's cracking, its face is getting all swollen.
Ooh, it's nasty.
It's pretty badass. It's not as cool as the waterfall, but it's probably the second coolest.
It is the second coolest.
Up until we get to that grody vagina cam. I mean, that vagina cam is disgusting.
These snakes have eaten so many people. You think there'd just be tons, like this thing would be full of people. You can't even get that shot.
Oh, but wait. Don't forget that opening scroll we saw.
Oh,
that's right. It comes back. So the snake is chasing around Jennifer Lopez now that it's eaten Voight. She escapes into a narrow room. The snake can't fit through it. It tries to get through, gets all pissed off. I need to get a bit smaller. So it regurgitates John Voight. Because if you remember correctly, for some reason, these snakes will kill, eat, regurgitate so it can kill again.
Yeah.
It basically never bothers to digest.
I think the only reason that was in the opening scroll was for this scene.
So it vomits up John Voight. He's slimy. He's partially digested. He's missing his fake eye. But he's still alive.
Because he gives a little wink.
And he's still sneering. He cuts a little wink at Jennifer Lopez and then just falls forward with his face into her midriff.
I think that's when they knew. I think they knew halfway through the movie. They're like, man, this Cerrone's a fucking character. People are going to kind of like this guy. We got to give him a cool little scenery. Winks at the audience and is like, yeah, I know I'm doing some batshit crazy accent, and this movie makes no sense, but it's all in good fun, so he just winks at the camera. I think that's what they're doing. I don't know. It seems like they're kind of breaking the fourth wall on this one. Hey, this is a dumb monster movie.
Yeah. Well, I think they did that, and then they were like, wait a minute. Now put it in the scroll at the beginning so that we cover this horseshit.
Well, yeah, because they're like, otherwise, if they want to put that scroll in there, you'd be like, why'd that fucking thing puke?
Yeah.
Was it sick?
Well, I mean, you could have just played it off like it needed to fit through, so it puked him up.
Did it not like the taste of John Voight's jungle rot?
Oh, I mean, it probably wouldn't. You've seen how greasy this man is. We talked about his jungle rot. He's probably got a few molds going on around
Snake's
his
like,
throat.
This guy ain't so fresh. I don't know.
Oh, not fresh at all. One thing I kind of notice here, they're throwing up all their food before they digest it. That's probably why there's only a couple of these snakes around. They're just dying because they're of starvation.
Probably. You're probably right. Anorexic.
I think the only things we've seen them digest, I'm guessing Owen Wilson finished him off, maybe the panther.
Well, whatever their eating disorder is, they have something. That's why they're endangered. But at this point is where Ice Cube comes up with a plan. The snake is chasing J-Lo, but Ice Cube is trying to pin it down with the pickaxe.
Missing hilariously.
But he has a plan to dump gasoline
all over this factory or mill, whatever it is.
on the snake, like his end goal, but really it's just going everywhere.
Yeah, he's gonna blow the whole thing up. So finally he manages to pin this thing down. He swings it, catches it right in the tail, pins it to the floor. Snake does not give a single shit.
Yeah, it's like, whatever.
It kind of looks back for a second, but then it keeps chasing Lopez up. She's climbing like a ladder up a chimney chute.
She's going up the big old chimney chute.
Unfortunately, there is like a fence door at the top of it.
Yeah, for some whatever reason, I don't know much
she's
about chimneys.
pushing it. It's not opening. Ice Cube's shouting up some help, like, "Open the door!
You gotta open it!
You gotta open it! Push the side with the hinges!" And she's just getting so pissed off, like, "You fucking idiot! There's a snake. I know how to work a door." But then she just pushes it again and it opens. So maybe that encouragement's all she needed.
It wasn't even locked or anything.
No, nothing like that.
She just couldn't push it for a momentary second.
Luckily, the snake was pinned down, so it was almost reaching her. We had that big tense moment. She escapes. She jumps, or she gets up on the grated top of this chimney. Snake immediately bursts through the door. It gets loose. Ice Cube's yelling at her, "You gotta jump. I'm gonna blow it up." She jumps. It's time for the explosion. It's not the best explosion I've seen.
The chimney just kind of crumbles and this flaming snake falls out.
It's a huge flaming snake.
I have no idea how Jennifer Lopez doesn't get hit with any of this debris.
Oh, she's an action star at this point.
Well, yeah, at this point she has that.
You gotta jump away from the
her.
explosions. You got that plot armor. So this snake is burning and shrieking. That sucks for the snake.
It is kind of a sad death. They kind of make you think maybe the snake's going to go after her again, but it just kind of slowly burns to death. Oddly, they don't do the horror.
Well, no, it does keep going after them. You're forgetting. Oh. So it goes underwater. Everyone's happy. They think it's dead. It pops up again, and it chases them around a bit. It gets stuck in like a broken dock, I think. And then,
oh yeah,
I think Ice Cube has a fire axe all of a sudden, and he just chops it in the head a few times, breaks that brain up. And then Jennifer Lopez calls it a bitch. Which is kind of a mean thing to do. This is just, an animal being an animal.
And if we're supposed to believe about these shimmy-shamas, it's actually a mystical creature.
Yeah, it's protecting them from these evil white people.
Yeah, so really, well... It's protecting them.
Well, wait a minute. Maybe that's why they're the two that survived.
Oh, and John Voight.
It did kill all the white people.
And John Voight is the...
And then its job was done, so it could get axed up and allow itself to die.
Okay, that might be right.
And it just missed Eric Stoltz. It was like, this guy's not going to do anything.
He's injured. We'll leave him alone.
Not even he's injured. Oh, it's Eric Stoltz. We'll send the snake when it's Michael J. Fox. How about that?
It's like we still feel bad about that Back to the Future thing. We can't kill this guy.
No, that'd be too
much. Even the snakes have heard about that.
So the snake is finally dead. They take off. Eric Stoltz wakes up again now that all the action's done.
He's like, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, we did it, guys. Right? Right?
What happened?
Sure was heroic of all of us.
Swear to God, I woke up and seen a flaming snake falling from the sky. Was that real? Yeah.
Man, I've probably got an infection or something. I was seeing giant flaming snakes.
I'm probably still gonna die. I had an open wound.
You didn't let any kind of river vagrants cut my throat open, did you?
Did they wash their hands at first, at least?
Did you sterilize he just used his pocket knife and pulled from his boot?
He's been fucking cutting snakes up with that thing and all kinds of shit.
Well, let's stop at the store. I'm going to eat 5 pounds of penicillin now. But they're going up the river, and then who do they see but it's the Shinishami.
They found them.
The Shinishami are just staring in boats like, you just killed our gods.
Yeah, you killed our fucking snake.
That really is. They're just staring at him like, what the fuck, guys? Which could be their reaction to seeing these people in general, but you killed our guys.
I could think my ending would have been they would have fucking started darting them or spearing them and killing them.
Yeah, like that scene from Indiana Jones.
Yeah, they're like, you fucking killed our fucking snake god.
Yeah. Which, so, I'm pretty sure, there wasn't much swearing or nudity, anything like that in this movie, but all of a sudden we have a few topless women in the tribesmen. Do you think that one thing got it pushed up to the R rating? You need those National
It's
Geographic
probably like,
groups.
I'm trying to think, how the rating has like an oddly specific thing about why it's rated that way sometimes, like in the little, because it features natural nudity and snake violence or whatever.
Oh, well, just imagine like everyone saw the rating thing. They were like, oh, nudity in this movie with Jennifer Lopez and
Carrie.
Skinamax Carrie. Oh, it's National Geographic movies. That's great.
Yeah,
Thanks, movie.
Kind of wasted Carrie, and they... Well, whatever. Hey, this movie, we ain't here for tits. We're here for snakes.
We lured you in. That was our bait. The nudity. You thought it was gonna be J-Lo. No, mon ami.
No, baby bird.
No, baby bird. These just the babies.
I swear to God, if I ever had the pleasure of meeting
John Voight,
I just ask him to call me Baby Bird. Do that
Ask
voice.
him to do that voice.
Call me Baby Bird.
He'll spit in your face.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I was too drunk to remember that movie. So they find the tribe. They just start videotaping. They start shooting them with the camera, getting some footage for this. I don't know why.
Yeah, they haven't shot
documentary's
anything.
dead.
Yeah, the documentary's not happening. You're going to get fucking sued because the fucking host got killed. Everyone's
killed. Dead. I mean, this all has to fall on Eric Stoltz, right? He's the producer, the explorer. He didn't hire a doctor.
He's the guy in charge. I think Eric Stoltz probably went to prison after this.
Oh, absolutely.
For, like, negligent...
Well, let's be real. Ice Cube went to prison.
Oh, yeah.
This was the 90s. Eric Stoltz had it. That's why Ice Cube was there. You need someone to take the blame.
Someone got a manslaughter charge on this and went to prison.
And heroic Ice Cube took the blame for negligent Eric Stoltz.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's exactly what happened. The sequel, like Anaconda, courtroom drama.
Well, there are sequels. I mean, I haven't watched them, but...
I have heard or read that one of the sequels does actually explain the origins of the anacondas from this movie.
Oh, that's cool, I guess.
So I don't know if they really are the Shimmy Shama snakes or if they make up some other bullshit.
Well, I mean, you say courtroom drama. I would watch that. We see Eric Stoltz on trial for negligence, just Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube testifying against him.
Only if we find out, twist ending, there's a surprise witness.
Surprise witness.
Paul Cerrone.
Paul Cerrone.
He survived the regurgitation. And he just comes in there and he fucking indicts Eric Stoltz. This man is injured.
I come on the boat. I tell you, I take them down the river. Next thing I know, he's stabbing me in the back. I get eaten by a big old snake. The snake couldn't keep me down. I got the jungle rot. It had been a long time since I had a woman.
15 years of jungle rot.
But there's a lot of animals in that jungle for a lonely man.
Like, sir, no further questioning needed.
Did you ever make love to a snake? You shouldn't. I did it. So that's Anaconda.
That's Anaconda 2.
So, what? Obviously, you'd recommend this movie, right?
I would recommend this. I'd highly recommend it. As far as like monster movies go from the 90s.
Yeah, entertainment value. I'd say it's a solid 4 stars.
You have, what do you have from the 90s for monster movies? You have Deep Blue Sea. You have Lake Placid. You have...
There's that shitty Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla...
with Matthew Broderick. Oh, we might have to do that one.
Well, it does feature...
I'm action hero Matthew Broderick. You need someone to take on Godzilla, you say, huh?
The only way you could get worse than Eric Stoltz for an action hero
Matthew Broderick.
But
all 5 feet and 2 inches of Matthew Broderick.
It does feature that awesome Puff Daddy song, though.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, yeah. Come With Me? Oh, man. Classic.
God, what a shitty movie.
Classic.
But anyways, Anaconda is, I mean, it's definitely a schlocky movie, but it's not being too schlocky. And John Voight, I mean, if it wasn't for him, I think this would just be another kind of bland movie. He is hamming it up, and it's hilarious.
And Ice Cube just playing Ice Cube. The British guy just playing flat out British guy.
Yeah, British guy. It's like he saw that accent and he was like, well, I have to step up my accent game. Oh, wow, I can't do a British at all. I did too much Cerrone.
Now you're gonna be
just
stuck.
Watch the rest of the podcast. I can never do any of my shitty impressions again. It's all gonna be like warped Cerrone.
You're gonna be stuck. I would hope it would be better if you're just stuck with Cerrone in like your daily life now. Like
Oh,
you could not rid you had some sort of mini stroke in the middle of that impression.
Oh, if I could naturally just do Cerrone
without
without thinking about it, that'd be amazing.
Oh man.
But it's not, I mean, obviously it's not a movie you watch alone. You watch it with some friends.
It's a good party movie.
It's a good party movie. You do some bad John Voight impressions. Everyone's like, oh wow, it's Owen Wilson.
I'm going to give this movie like 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah,
4 out of 5 anacondas.
4 out of 5 little baby snakes.
Little baby snakes from a baby bird.
So, absolutely recommend it. We'll have to get back into some more 80s. I feel like we've been drifting into the 90s recently, which isn't a problem, but we're not getting the steroids.
Well, the next episode we put out,
we're going to have to throw some 80s
It's going to be in 80s. It's going to be in 80s, man. I don't know.
So we'll have to think about that, what we're going to put out there. Thanks for listening. If you have any recommendations on anything you want us to talk about, anything that had a VHS release, I think that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
We're going to parse things out, let you know what to sort through when you're going through that VHS bargain bin in the Goodwill. This has been another episode of VHS Revolt. I am Shane.
I'm Chet. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.